Well, thanks for staying with us. Welcome to this segment of our show where we review the newspapers. But in the spirit of the finals of the National Science and Maths Quiz, the 2019 edition, Norvan Akwaheford is here to do the newspapers. He's an old boy of Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, Prez. Norvan, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, you're good?
I'm very good and I'm in high spirit this morning.
Yeah, I can see that. Is it true? Is it true that if you took this off, you guys will lose?
Oh, well, Mamadi, I think that I have just come. And the boys are in high spirits this morning as well. I can tell you that.
Hey.
They are very much prepared.
You've been talking to them.
Oh, of course. I mean, those are our boys. And then we are ensuring that they are winning the contest today. Let's talk about 6. You understand? Remember that what Ogasco wants to be in terms of winning, I think, for the second time. And then is it Peters wanting to win
for the 4th time?
For the 4th time. And then back to back, we have been. So it is our past we are struggling to become, and we are looking to the future. Let's talk about 6. Oh, don't worry. Let's talk about 6.
Well, our broadcast here on Joy News of the National Science and Maths Quiz, the 2019 edition, is made possible courtesy MTN Momo, Newmont's Gold Core Ghana, DBS Industries Limited, Tabia Herbal Center, and Key Brilliant Soap. So we thank all these companies for making it possible for us to broadcast the National Science and Maths Quizzes down to the finals later this morning. We'll be going back to the National Theatre. That's where Kojo Young Singh is pitching camp. But now we have to do the newspapers. I will do the Daily Graphic, the Times, and some other papers. Well, we have the Daily Guide, the Daily Statesman, the Business Finder, and some more newspapers. So we'll see how many of them we can do. But let's start off with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Here we go. Front page of the paper. Carpenter 34 wins self-contained house in Dev Traco Graphic Dream House promo. And when he was called live on the drive time on Joy, he sounded very relaxed. He's in Obuasi. He didn't know what was going on. And then the news finally. Also, he was asked, what were you hoping to win when you entered the draw? He said, the house. And yeah, he got a house, Charlie. That sounded so cool. I wish it was me. Receiver of defunct Unibank can sue in his name. High Court rules. Review Iyoko legal framework to make its independence. That story is on page 16. We'll bring you a bit of that. MTN rewards 1,000 customers in Momo draw. Invest in Ghana with business-friendly. We have business-friendly credentials, President declares in France. Let's check out what's in the center spread of the paper. Ghana develops master plan on infrastructure for petroleum products. Take advantage of free trade agreement in Ghana. Chiramating advises businesses. And on the back page, Taranga Lions prey on the Squirrels to qualify for AFCON semis. Algeria eye revenge against Cote d'Ivoire, and the country that a lot of us are backing because they've been incredible in this AFCON tournament is Madagascar. So it's a question on the back page of the paper, Madagascar to ditch Tunisia too. Well, considering the fact that Tunisia got us out of the tournament, we're all backing Madagascar today.
Yeah. Okay, so the Daily Guide this morning on its front page, the big story is drama at Mahama EC meeting. And then you have woman 70 wins MTN Momo car. Yeah, 70-year-old woman, Madame Rebecca, is it Yakwe? She wins that car. And then Ayokobotre sues Africa Watch for $20 million. Korean minister visits Ghana. And then at the center spread, you have the AFCFTA, that is the Continental Free Trade Agreement, will market Ghana overseas. That is Alan Chamati, the trade minister. Yesterday he had a press briefing trying to let us understand what went on in Nigeria at the AU meeting. Ghana will be hosting the secretariat here because we have gotten the approval to do so. And then you also have NIB pledges more support for SMEs. And then at the back page, you have Ghana to host international badminton here in this country. And then Star Times screens ICC.
All right, let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Front page of the Times. Angry contractors besiege ministry, demand payment for contracts executed. Also, government corrects economic fundamentals. According to President, 70-year-old woman wins first car, MTN Momo at 10 promo. Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Service confirm polio virus 2 outbreak in Tamale. That's very worrying, very disturbing there. Court rejects Dr. Opuni's documents. An Accra High Court yesterday rejected the document lawyers for Dr. Stephen Opuni, the immediate past chief executive of Cocoa Board, wanted to tender through a witness. Dr. Opuni and Saidu Agongo, the managing director of Agricolt Ghana Limited, a fertilizer manufacturing company, are standing trial for allegedly causing 217 million Ghana cedis financial loss to the state in a fertilizer deal. The backstory is in the paper today. And then, okay, so page 16 is where the contractor story is, but we'll talk about that after the general review. Back page is some sports. Nigeria and Bafana AFCON dream. Oh, Nigeria and Bafana AFCON dream. And is it Gay put Senegal in AFCON semi-finals? That's it.
Okay, so the Business Finder this morning reports Ghana loses 200 million yearly from petroleum smuggling, and that is when it comes to transporting petroleum products from Ghana to the other West African countries like Burkina Faso, Guinea, Mali, and all those places. We understand that most of these products don't get to their location, and in view of that, the Vice President has indicated that there is going to be a law and then a master plan
to digitize,
to check all these to ensure that we can, rake in the needed revenue that we need. And then
are those just words, or this is something that we will actually see happening? But this is the same 200 million for the Chimbana.
Yeah.
So you see, the thing I was trying to say, and this is what I've been trying to say, is that we've focused on parliaments, but 200 million is used, or we lose that in many other areas. We have to pay attention to things happening elsewhere as well. The same focus and attention we gave to the chamber, if we channeled it elsewhere too, we would make a lot of impact as a people.
Well, it has to do with the fact that, and as we say, very few Ghanaians are being taxed. Meanwhile, there are a lot of loopholes within the system that need to be blocked to prevent the leakages, for us to raise the needed revenue to take care of expenditure and then infrastructural development in this country. If we're able to do that, then clearly I think that we can get to the point where if we're told that we even need 500 million to do something else, we know that, okay, the country or the government has the money to be able to do that. But now, deplorable roads, some hospitals, we don't have it in areas, we don't have good schools, some people are still sitting under trees, and until we resolve these things, make sure people get potable water, electricity, social amenities are available to the citizens, you cannot tell us that you're going to be building a chamber. You cannot do that. $200 million.
In the meantime, we're also losing these monies, and we're not talking about finding the people who are culpable and punishing them, and making sure that they face what the stated laws are. But we're talking about ways to correct this.
Yes, let's just hope that the Vice President, what he said, that this master plan that is going to be put in place, and then a law to check these things will be done. Don't forget that already we had put in place a measure that if you were moving petroleum product from our port to, let's say, Burkina Faso, you still have to pay the taxes on it, take it to that country, let us know that indeed that product got there, then we can refund the money that we need to refund to you. I mean, that's another way of checking.
And that's because sometimes the trucks would pretend they're taking fuel to, say, Tamale.
Yes.
And then they end up outside Ghana.
Yeah, and so it's also actually because the truck is supposed to be heading to, let's say, Burkina Faso, but then ends up in some village in Kumasi. And don't forget that we introduced what we call the tracking system. The MPA introduced the tracking system. I hope it is working very well as it should. And so let's see what happens to that. At the center spread of the Finder, there's a story that says recapitalization will improve payment of insurance claims. Let's just hope that this will happen, because the NIC, that's the Insurance Commission, has announced recapitalization for all the insurance companies, all the categories that we have. And this is the commissioner himself, Justice Yaofori, who is saying that, listen, we know that this will help improve claims. And claims payment is a big issue, and it is one of the reasons why we have that very low penetration in terms of how Ghanaians patronize insurance in this country. Because if I'm going to pay my money to you, and then when it's time for me to claim, it's not going to be, as prompt as it should, then why do I have to do it?
Yeah.
And in any case, when it comes to the life sector, the life insurance area, I mean, not many Ghanaians are really interested. How many of us are insuring
because
as we should? Even when we're told to insure our buildings, are we doing it?
Because I think that sometimes the people they send out to educate potential clients and get customers don't do a good job. They're interested in the commission, and so they tell you, they don't tell you everything. So you see that sometimes people take up policies that they don't understand, and when the deductions begin, they storm the insurance company and they say, I want my money because your guy didn't tell me everything.
Yeah.
And suddenly I'm being deducted. And when you go and you say you want to go and claim your money, they will take something out of your money. So if you've saved 500 Ghana cedis, you won't even get all the 500. And these things don't, I mean, it's not encouraging. Somebody will sit there and say, but if I'd gone to open a normal savings account and I had saved 500, if I went for my 500, I would get my 500. They wouldn't say they're taking administrative charges from it.
Well, the banks even themselves, when you want to close down an account, there are certain things that goes into it. But I think clearly, just as you're saying, it has to do with education.
Yeah.
Proper education is needed to ensure that people understand these policies. And we need to get to the point where I actually need a policy to insure myself, to get that collateral that when there is damage, I'll be able to deal with it. I mean, we're told of football players who even wanted to insure their legs and all that.
We don't do that kind of insurance in Ghana.
Well, who want to do that? I mean, that amount of money. Who really wants to go into that?
Even with the property, the house and the things in it, how many people insure their houses and the things contained in the houses
it's not happening.
But that's because we're not, I think the National Insurance Commission is not doing a great job in terms of education. So most of us are lied to, and that prevents us from going forward and taking up policies. That's my strong belief, actually.
It could be true, because, I mean, they need to even ensure that as regulators, they get the insurance companies themselves. The policy document must be simple to read and simple to understand.
There are terms and conditions that you never know until you're going to make a claim. That's when they tell you, oh, this figure that you paid as premium, this is what you're entitled to, and we can't fix this, and we can only give you 2,000 Ghana cedis. So the rest, you have to cough it.
Yeah, still on the front page of the Business Finder, you have
Why are you running away?
Free Trade to rake in some $35 billion. And that is Alan Chamati trying to let us understand the reason why we should trade among ourselves. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, once upon a time was in Ethiopia. I mean, when he was alive, I'm sure that he clearly told the African leaders at the time, including Sankara and all those other people, that listen, we need to trade among ourselves. We need to remove the barriers that we have as a continent, and that for us to progress, trading among ourselves and then removing the barriers, so that Ghana does not think that, no, there's a barrier between me and Cote d'Ivoire, or there's a barrier between us and Togo. That is how we will be successful as a people.
So this is what I asked. Those barriers that we see, would it be currency? Is it the eco? Is it a currency that's a barrier?
Oh, well,
because we've got yes, I get it, but I mean, we start this way because we want to make trading a lot more easier, correct?
Yes.
But there are real challenges, not the notes.
Well, I think
what would the notes do if I'm going from here to Nigeria? If you're transporting goods from Ghana to Nigeria?
We want one visa. You should be able to go to Namibia without having to go and queue for
Massa,
a visa.
let's deal with the smaller things. Let's deal with the smaller things in terms of the roads.
A visa. You understand? Today you can go to Cote d'Ivoire. You don't need a visa. Today you can go to Nigeria.
So how many people
just use an ID, a national ID, to travel through these countries?
I get it.
And we are saying that to trade with, let's say, the UK or with the US or with some other country, we have a huge continent and the population is over what? 1 billion. Why are we not trading among ourselves?
So what are the barriers?
No,
what are the barriers?
It has to do with laws in countries. Language is also a barrier. You need to look at all these things.
I appreciate those things, Novan. I appreciate those things. But I feel if we make it easier so that you can travel, if you're carrying goods from Ghana to Nigeria, for instance, if it is so easy, there's a railway line where you can get to these countries. You get even smaller people with very little capital trading amongst themselves. You're talking about flying, you're talking about UK and blah, blah, blah. Those are the bigger things. But I feel that we should deal with the smaller things. And I'm sorry, we've been chasing the eco in terms of West Africa for how long? It's not the answer. I don't think so. We should. It's not the answer. What's the point in having a note where when you still cannot reach each other easily?
Mama V, today,
when you can't physically reach each other.
The Continental Free Trade Agreement was signed.
I think we just speak big languages, and then we sign documents. We sign documents. How am I going to physically carry?
Now I'm feeling like I'm the minister. Meanwhile, I'm not.
No, but I'm just trying to be real, Novan. How do I carry my goods from here to Togo, from here to Nigeria? Name the countries. What would the note do? Is the note the railway line? Is the note the road? Get it?
This whole thing is not about the note.
I know.
It's
get
about
it. I'm just saying we're going to sign another thing that would not be.
No, this is going to work. Let's just
really
support it.
How is that going to? How is that going to work?
I think that we need.
How is it going to work?
Today, you can trade in Nigeria. Just that the laws of various countries must be looked at. And yesterday, a question was put to Alan Chamatin based on what had happened to the Nigerian traders, quite recently. And he said, there are laws that will protect local traders. And those laws will continue to work. And we're going to ensure that various countries and
we're
the laws
going to ensure. You see, agrobeswa.
Well, it kicked in on the 7th of July.
We have our own homegrown challenge. This same thing that you say the minister is talking about.
We've just said,
we have our own homegrown one that we haven't been able to resolve because we have a local law that conflicts with one that we've signed with an international law. See? I think we should solve our own problems before we start going outside. That's all I'm saying. Let's do the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Until then, it will just remain words and a piece of paper as an MOU, whatever that the big people will come and sign and go. We'll still have the challenges.
9.1 from 9.4.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well, that means...
how does that translate to my pocket? Please explain. You are the business guy.
Well, maybe, you know what? It's only in this country. I just need to be real. That inflation drops and nothing changes on the market. Let me just...
So there you go. You've delivered what is supposed to be good news, right?
It's only in this country that the finance minister speaks or something happens and your stock market will not move. Do you know what happened yesterday when the U.S. Central Bank boss indicated that we may consider cutting rates downwards? Do you know what happened on the stock market? You should have seen it. But it's only
the figures started moving.
Things started moving. Stock prices and everything. Charlie, but in your country,
we will get there.
Nothing happens.
See, that's why when you talk to me about inflation, I ask you, how does that translate to the everyday living?
We'll get there just as soon. Let's go to the Daily Dispatch.
Let's do the Daily Dispatch newspaper, front page of the Daily Dispatch. Election 2020 campaign issue pops up. Parliament to start new $200 million chamber in 2021, but it comes with a question mark. Ghana loses $200 million a year due to illicit activities, according to the NPA boss, Al-Hassan Tampuli. 200 million is a very popular figure in Ghana. It has become in recent days. Read about Captain Koda, retired's role in 1979 jailbreak. Paper is advertising. That's about it for the Daily Dispatch newspaper.
Okay, the Daily Statesman this morning report, premix to go digital. You know the premise issue. I mean, every time people, when government change hands, people not getting what they need, especially our fisher folks.
Yeah,
you know they need it, and some small group of people, they're the ones.
We saw Kwete Nate's documentary that focused on the central and western. You see, the point is that we don't even. How many of these people do we see being punished? And then instead of enforcing the law, we try to find another way. So there is a plan B, which is digitize. In the meantime, those who are doing the wrong thing,
they go scot-free. They go scot-free. And so we are told that there will be some technology being applied there. Fuel distribution to be reformed. Fertilizer follows soon. I think that is also coming from the Vice President. Drop the hypocrisy. NDC's hardship claims exposed. And that is, there's a picture of Seydou Ketia and the rest when they sat on the floor and were crying during the Kumyem Prekon demonstration. Now, the educational minister, the story there is Napo shows how it's a good time to study in Ghana. I'm wondering, is it that the curricula, everything has changed? We have better teachers now. Don't we still have children learning under trees? So how is it a good time to study in Ghana? Maybe the story will
He was
tell
in
us.
France.
He was in France, yes, with the president. And that was where the president was trying to woo investors by telling them that we have better credentials when it comes to investing in anywhere in the world. So those are the stories that you have on the front page of the Daily Statesman.
Okay, so this headline, we're going to go to myjoyonline.com because we're done with the hardcore papers. But of course, there are some stories that we thought we would touch just a little bit. Let's do this in the Ghanaian Times newspaper, page 16 on the contractors.
Yeah.
It says that contractors numbering about 100 yesterday besieged the Ministry of Roads and Highways to demand immediate payment for projects executed for the government. Looking angry, the contractors who said they were frustrated for non-payments of government contracts awarded them, chanted war songs and called out the minister, Kwesi Amoakwata, severally to respond to their concerns. When the Ghanaian Times got to the scene, some others clad in red headbands accused the minister of politicking with the livelihoods of contractors and threatened court action if their demands were not addressed urgently. Some personnel of the ministry's police station who had arrived to the scene on time to avert any unforeseen circumstance preached for calmness while protecting the main entrance of the ministry building. One of the contractors told the Times that the group was angry with the government for delaying payment for contracts which were executed between 3 and 5 years ago. He explained that the delay in the payment had crippled the operations of some contractors due to huge debts they owe banks and suppliers. And this issue is an unending one, really, Novan.
Yeah, we're being told, and many times, I think that one or two reports that we've even done on the business news where the Roads and Highways Minister had clearly indicated, sometimes you hear from the Finance Minister that some payments have been made. And don't forget, I'm sure that at the media budget review where the Finance Minister had indicated that he would be sending a supplementary budget to Parliament, we want to hear from him with regards to this particular issue.
The contractors.
I mean, these contractors. And yesterday, I was listening to some of them who were saying that they keep hearing some contractors have been paid. Who are those contractors? Is it some nice looking different set of group of contractors who are receiving their funds that they as other contractors are not receiving? Then they think that is discrimination. That is what one of them was saying. And I think that most of them are talking about they raised certificates in 2016 until now, in 2019. And nothing has been done. And so it's quite worrying. If government says we are paying contractors, but still you have some group of contractors who keep coming and saying that we haven't received any monies. And that's not good at all.
Yeah.
I want to know whether it's just current projects that have been completed or these old projects, and I think the Finance Ministry should be very clear on that.
So some of the figures that they say they are owed, some are saying 200,000 Ghana cedis to 30 million Ghana cedis and above. These are for contractors that we have all executed from asphalt to road maintenance and construction of drains. So they're talking about the specific projects that they've done in the past that government has not paid them for. There's a lot more detailed in terms of the story that's been put out on page 16. But yeah, if you have a business and you've done work, and usually people like it when they get government contracts, because those are
at all costs, no matter what it takes. The guarantee of payment is there.
Yeah, but if it takes forever to pay, your business is collapsing. You've got workers. There are people who are relying on you.
Yeah, I can imagine in 2016 you took a loan from a bank to execute this project or whichever project that you were given, and we're in 2019. You haven't paid. The interest that has been accrued by now probably is over and above the principal you went for, and this is worrying. It's really not good for business in this country. And I think that the finance ministry should make good their promises to be paid.
We need Joy Business to put some pressure and try and get some answers as well.
We will do that. And I think my story that I want to look at, a good time to study in Ghana, 59,000 teachers employed under NPP, and this is the educational minister. I'm trying to understand what he said or what he meant by saying that, look, this is a good time to be studying in Ghana.
So we have an insert, because we did this in the AM News. Yes. Fred, if you could pull out Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh speaking in Paris for us.
Let's hear him. Let's just hear him.
So you can do yours when it's ready.
Yeah, and he says for the first time in a decade, all high school, senior high school have been supplied with core textbooks to enhance studies. The Minister of Education, Matthew Opoku Prempeh, has announced the introduction of the free senior high school policy, which has resulted in an increase in student enrollment by roughly 31%, makes the era of President Akufo-Addo the best time to study in Ghana. Mr. Minister, I'm sorry. I mean, this is not good enough. This can't be the good time. If you move these students who are studying under trees, all of them into a classroom, or if you can digitize the educational system, especially so that, because if you look at the downtime in terms of the number of hours, because we are doing this double track system, if you see that they spend more time at home than to be in school. What are we doing to ensure that, probably from home, is there a system that we could use that I can still join in some class work that is going on, some teaching that is going on in school? These are things that he should be thinking about. Trying to reform the educational system holistically. Do all these things, clear all those other trees, and then come back and tell me, Northern, that listen, this is a good time to study. And then let's look at the results in terms of when they go to write their WASI. We look at the results, and then we can look at it and say, it's a good time to study. Employing 59,000 teachers, I mean, that's not good enough. It's not good enough.
So you want some real thing to measure the success.
Exactly.
And then you can draw.
You've employed 59,000, and so it's a good time.
So you can draw a proper conclusion. Exactly. It's true. We haven't had the first batch of those who went on the track writing the exams. So we can't test. But I wanted to ask, realistically, can any government clear all schools under trees?
I think if they want to, they will.
Because what we do is that you don't find a government say, oh, as for my government, we're prioritizing education.
That is the
problem.
So
we're going to deal. You use holistically, then you can concentrate. But you're dealing with power, you're dealing with health, you're dealing with education, you're dealing with service, you're dealing with the manufacturing sector, and you have everything. You have everything going on at the same time. Yeah, so can we ever eliminate schools on the trees?
Well, we were not in this country when we were told that we'll be exporting nurses and teachers and the rest. What was the reason behind it? Is it that we have over trained, and so we have excess? People are sitting home, they are not being posted. People are sitting home, they're not getting to practice what the state has spent money to train them for. Come on. We need to prioritize our things.
I agree with you. Absolutely. I do agree with you. Yeah. Just employing a number
employing 59,000, you're telling me.
Does not mean results. Does not translate into results.
Core subjects.
Yeah.
Textbooks.
But the point is that,
Really?
again, let me use my realistic word. Again, he was speaking in France. He was trying to get investors. What were you expecting that he would tell them?
But okay, so how is this going to convince an investor for France to bring their kids, the people living in France, to bring their kids
not
to
that, but it's just
Ghana?
no.
Or Ghanaians living in France to think that, okay, you know what, if I have a kid in Ghana or I have a child in Ghana, I'm told that the educational system in Ghana now is so perfect.
No, but what it means is that Ghana is stable. You know, we're progressing. It's just talking about, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
But there's a very disturbing story in the Ghanaian Times. I thought we would do it before we go to myjoyonline.com if we have the time. The Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service has confirmed the outbreak of poliovirus 2 within the Tamale metropolis of the northern region. A statement signed by the Chief Director of the Ministry of Health, Nana Kwamina Ejay-Mensah, copied to the Ghanaian Times, said the virus, which was detected through routine surveillance activities with the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, constituted a public health emergency. The ministry has thus initiated actions, including detailed field investigations to identify possible source of the infection and the extent of geographical spread. A risk assessment is also being undertaken to determine possible human contraction, while surveillance, advocacy, and social mobilization are being enhanced in the metropolis. So there are some of the cautions that they're giving out. It has asked members of the general public to regularly wash their hands with soap and the safe running water, especially after using the toilet or before preparing food. It further urged parents and guardians to ensure the completion of instituted vaccination schedules for their wards to protect them against the virus. So you have to really take the necessary precautionary measures if you live particularly in the Tamale metropolis, because that's where this outbreak has been confirmed. And the Ministry of Health says it's a public health emergency. So please educate your children as they go to school to wash their hands once they use the toilets or the urinal. And then please, once you detect anything, please go to the hospital.
Yeah, you definitely have to be quick and visit the hospitals. Let's try and keep our areas safe, and then our siblings, our fathers, our children especially safe as well.
And if you haven't completed the vaccinations that your child will have to take, I think it's up to 5 years, please look for the weighing card and check what you have not done so you can do it. Yeah. Okay, let's do myjoyonline.com. Let's do myjoyonline.com now. Or we break for sports. Okay, it's time for sports. Novan, thank you very much.
Yeah, but I can promise you that.
You're winning the
Legon.
Yeah?
I didn't Prosec Legon. I mean, please, anytime you say Prosec, ensure that you add the Legon to it. And to let you understand that we came from Uduma Sokrobo. Yeah, the Odadia tree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that's where the tree is.
Yes, Udumasi. The school actually started from there.
So that's why you chased the brigade, the Krobo girls.
Oh no, please. We are more.
Okay.
You know,
all right.
Our ladies are the ones on the head.
But you know what? I'm going with Pesco today.
You're going with Pesco?
I am going with the defending champions.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
I'm going with the defending champions.
Listen, okay.
I
agro uniform. Agro uniform.
Okay, so you say we should talk about 6?
6.
I say we should talk about 4.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So stay with us. We'll bring you all the build-up live from the National Theatre. Kojo Yang Singh is there for us at the National Theatre. So stay with us right after sports. We'll take you to the National Theatre. Stay with us.